Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful Sunday morning it is, and this is that which takes place in between the before and the after. This is the interlude. Look where I am this morning. I am in our front office here at our church campus. What a beautiful place. So much goes on over here. You might ask, why am I over here this morning? In regards to worship, everything about worship starts over here in the office. We have an incredible team that helps throughout the week put together the service, put everything together that we need to have to follow along with worship. So we're over here this morning, and I want to bring in Nancy. Nancy, come on over here. Good morning, Nancy. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Nancy, you are our office manager here, so you're helping make sure everything gets taken care of for our Sunday morning worship. Many online just came off of our 8 a.m. worship service. Some are going into our 9:15 a.m. worship service. So we wanted to get a behind-the-scenes look at everything that happens throughout the week as we get ready for worship. So kind of just give us some of the overview of some of the things that take place here that help us worship on a Sunday morning.
Well, we have what we call the fishbowl, full of people who work in the office and do publications such as the Week at a Glance that goes into the bulletin. We do of course, we have our receptionist who answers phones and greets all the people who come in and takes care of all the mail that is delivered each day. We have Trina, who does a lot of the all the special projects that need to be done. And I work on the e-news and the once a month Christo Connection. And each week when Jeremy finishes the bulletin, we then take a copy of it, we proof it, we make sure it's okay with each of the pastors, whoever is preaching that weekend, and then we send it to print. And we have our huge copier that puts out that bulletin each week. We print about 575 copies.
So let me just make sure I have this process right. We know Dr. Peterman is the one who puts the bulletin together in its digital form,
Right.
but then that gets sent off to you, and you are the important eyes that look at it because you're looking for all the little errors or anything that needs tweaked or just information that needs to be adjusted. You go through all of that, and then you confirm with the pastors that the service is set the way that it should be set,
Right.
and then you send it to print. Is that right?
Yes. And
Very
then we
good.
have Angie, who works as the morning receptionist, who will load the copier. We have a huge copier. We call her Tiny. She's a very a great workhorse, and she loads it with paper. And then we send one copy to make sure it looks great, so that it's not printing upside down or just one-sided. We have to make sure everything is just
So let's follow that process this morning. We have Angie right over here. If you don't mind passing the microphone over to Angie. So Angie, we're following the bulletin process here.
Yes.
Next, it comes to you. Tell us about the details of what you do with the bulletin here.
So we just go after Nancy says everything's okay and Jeremy says everything's okay. Then we go over to Tiny, and Tiny just works and works and.
Tiny being not so tiny, right? Our very large printer.
Yes. Yep. And then so we get everything printed, and Trina does the WAG, and we print that off, and then that's this stuff the bulletin.
Good. I want to talk about that in a minute here, but before I jump to that,
So
a question about what happens right here. Now, Angie, I mean this sincerely, you are the face of the church here for people that call in, for people that walk into our office. You're the first face that everybody sees. Tell us about what that's like to sit at the desk here and take responsibility for being the face of the church.
Well, usually people call in and they have lots of questions and stuff, which is great, and we like the calls, but usually I don't have the answers, so then I just have to
I don't believe that. That is not
find
true.
somebody else to do it.
You know how to find the answers.
Yeah, I can find
If
people.
you do ever have a question about what goes on at the church here, please do not ever hesitate to call our church phone number.
Because I probably won't know either.
Yes.
But we will find out.
No.
for you.
No. That's not true. But our church phone number, 480-948-1234. And Angie here is going to answer the phone. Sometimes we have some other helpers in the office as well, but you are most certainly a big part of that. You're going to answer the phone, and you're going to find the answer for people, aren't you?
Yeah.
You do a great job, Angie. Thank you so much. Now, you mentioned the WAG. What is the WAG? Who does the WAG? What does this WAG mean?
That would the week at a glance. That would be Trina, and here's her wag. That's the little insert in the bulletin.
So
And Trina gets everything from the calendar and puts it on here and does the cool graphics on the back.
So it sounds like next in our bulletin
Yes.
path here, we need to go to Trina.
Yes, you
right?
definitely need
So let's talk to Trina. Good morning, Trina.
Hi.
Let's talk about this wag. This is a funny term, wag. Where did that come from? What does that mean?
We affectionately call it that because we're too lazy to call it week at a glance. It's too long a word. So we
Week
just
at a glance.
week at a
Okay.
glance. So it basically is a schedule for the church the whole entire week. So people can just put it up on their bulletin boards or take a picture of it and keep it on their phones or put on their refrigerators. But a lot of people like the paper copy and they don't necessarily like what's online or they don't like using their phones. So we just kind of simplified it and let people do it as a reminder that the church is really busy and we have a lot of stuff going on. So as like this week, we've got the GCU Masterworks concert coming up. So it's just little reminders on the back and we have your awesome special presentation.
Great.
And we just want to let people know that there's a lot of stuff that they can join and be a part of the community.
So this is helpful. Every week, you can come to worship here, grab the bulletin. Inside the bulletin here, you can see all the things happening at La Casa de Cristo that week, which is always full, right? There's
It's
always
always
so much going on. So just as Trina's saying, you can literally just put this inside your house, up on your fridge, whatever you want to do, and you can follow along day by day. And even if you're not participating in the events, you could pray for these events, right? There's just so many ways to participate here in the life of the church. Now let's talk about the back again. You mentioned you have some like, what do we call these? Advertisements for what's coming up. How do these get put together and how are these created?
Well, that's kind of actually, there's a lot of people that do it. First of all, it takes the person who actually is hosting the event to put it into the calendar. And then we have a communications team who they meet every Tuesday morning and they kind of say what's going to go and what's going to be advertised and what's coming up. And so then I get with Nancy and we decide which ones need the most advertising. And we like to put those on the back or something that maybe is popping up last minute and we want people to go to it. I mean, this free concert, who doesn't want to go to an amazing concert from GCU? So we want to let people know that, hey, there's a lot of events going on in your special presentation. It's things that are very active. And like I said, we just really want to let people know that they're invited.
Yeah. Thank
They're
you.
invited. Be
Thank
part
you,
of it.
Trina. Thank you for your work. Make sure you pick up one of these, not just the wag inside the bulletin, but the entire bulletin. You can follow along with worship and you can see what the true heart of this church is worship to our God. So thank you, Trina. Thank you for your work. Thank you to Angie. Let's go back to Nancy. Nancy, I have more questions about some other things that you do because at the very beginning here, you also mentioned e-news, weekly e-news.
Yes.
Tell us what's behind the e-news. What is your goal with that? What are we trying to do as a church with sending out e-news?
So the e-news is, again, to inform everybody of what's going on, some of the big events coming up. We like to include what scripture is going to be for the week so that people can read ahead and know and then, really participate in service.
What,
And then,
sorry to interrupt you, but that's so big to me. I think that's so important. I love you put the upcoming scripture for that weekend
yes,
in advance.
yes,
And people can take this scripture and they can read it at home first,
correct.
right? So that when they come to worship, they're already prepared with that scripture message.
Yes.
So I love that because it's not just, advertising for other random events,
Right.
but it's also a way of preparing ourselves for the weekend worship.
Yes. And then we also include if there are any memorial services coming up that people can participate, whether it's a live streamed memorial service where they can just click on the image of the, the graphic on the screen, and then it'll take them right to, it's linked to La Casa Live where the service is live streamed from. And then we will also include anything that is current and imminent where people can participate, sign up. They just click on the links and they sign up for an event.
How important is it that people of the church in this faith community serve in that way? I see, needs. We need help here. We need help here. Why is it important for the life of a Christian to participate in the life of service and helping at these events?
Well, there is nothing like community to be involved in, and especially La Casa de Cristo. We have so many wonderful events. It is so The people who attend this church are just so giving, and they have so much fun together, whether it's at a Wednesday night dinner or a pie fest or the anniversary celebration, anything that we have coming up. And they get so much out of it, and it helps all of us. They're
Yeah.
the backbone.
You are right. When I'm thinking of some people in my mind right now, those that come and serve, they follow the e-news,
Right.
they click on the link, they sign up to participate. I see a lot of joy in those people, a lot of joy in just
Agreed.
serving the church, being a part of the community. Many people often talk about how they get to know people in new ways.
Yes.
And it's hard when you don't get plugged in, when you don't get involved, you don't get to know people.
Yeah, and there are so many people who have so much in common. Even in our office, when Mila first came to work here and found out that she and Trina were from the same town in California, you have so much in common. You just have to get to know people and make those connections.
Yeah. Well, thanks be to God for your entire team. I know up front in the office here of Angie, Trina, Mila, Jessica also helps out as well. And what an incredible team. Tell us about some of the fun that you have here in the office, aside from the work responsibilities, which we know you're so faithful at,
Yes.
but you have a lot of fun, right?
We do. We have an awful lot of fun. We laugh a lot. We celebrate one another. We like to cook and eat together. So that's been a fun part. And we even have a karaoke night planned to go out together and just sing and enjoy one another.
How fun. Well, what a blessing to have all of your work as a part of the church here. We're so grateful. And you saw it, the finished bulletin. You can get it weekly. And remember, it's always online as well. So not only the hard copy, but that digital copy of the bulletin gets put online. So even right now, as you're watching this, you can click on that link for the bulletin under lacasalive.com and find that information there. Follow along in the WAG, get that weekly information about what's going on.